What follows is the complete, unabridged translation of a profound Dharma talk given by a respected Vietnamese Buddhist master to his students. Our goal here is not to create a condensed article, but to preserve the natural, flowing, and comprehensive nature of the original lecture. We have kept the repetitions for emphasis, the conversational rhythm, and the detailed question-and-answer exchanges to give you, the reader, an authentic experience. This text has been carefully edited to ensure clarity and flow for a global audience, allowing you to immerse yourself in the lesson as if you were there in the room. Part 1. The Core Lecture. Alright, today we're going to study the lesson. It's a talk on the topic of karma. In our series on Dharma propagation, well, this talk is also a kind of discussion we have, mainly with lay people, and for lay people who don't know much about the Dharma yet, that's even better. That's what our lessons are like, for the most part. Our topic is talking with people who don't have a deep understanding of the path yet. So today, let's say we meet someone, maybe they come to the temple or we run into them somewhere. We're the ones who have to proactively start the conversation. We have to take the lead. And we can talk about karma directly. It could be that you, venerable sirs, see a layperson come to the temple, or maybe you go out to buy something. After just a few sentences back and forth, you can manage to say a few words about karma with them. But of course, sometimes we don't get the chance to talk for a whole session. Sometimes we only get to say 2 or 3 sentences. Sometimes we can talk for 5 or 10 minutes, and sometimes, if the conditions are right, we can talk for an hour or 2. It all depends on our karmic connection. But we have to practice talking about karma. Why is that? Because the law of karma, the teaching on the law of karma, is an extremely important teaching in Buddhism. All of the Buddhist teachings are placed on the foundation of karma. Therefore, a good Dharma propagator must be a person who is extremely knowledgeable about karma. Later on, it's the same. When we step out to do the work of Dharma propagation for real, we will teach many different topics, but that element of karma, it's always there, pervading and influencing everything. If we stray from karma by even half a step, we can very easily fall into wrong view. For example, one time, I was talking with a certain teacher. This teacher, well, he had studied psychology. So he looked at every problem through the lens of psychology. As for us, we look at every problem through karma. So, while we were talking, this issue came up. There are some lay people who, for whatever reason, have left Buddhism and gone to follow another religion. So I said, that person who leaves Buddhism to follow another path, when they die, it'll be a difficult death. A really difficult death. They'll just lie there, unable to pass on. And that teacher, he immediately replied. He said, that's because of a guilty conscience. You see, he was looking at it from a psychological perspective. But I said no. It's because a deep, unseen goodness, a profound root of merit within them has been damaged. That is why they lie there in torment, unable to die. So, I was speaking according to karma, and that teacher was speaking according to psychology. I looked straight at that teacher and I realized he couldn't see through to the level of karma. His mind, his ability could only see up to that psychological level and stop. It couldn't go beyond that to see the root of karma that was governing it. In our teachings, later on, it will be the same. We will understand many things, we will teach many things. But what's important is, whatever you say, you have to see it all the way through to its karmic roots. For example, when a practitioner enters a deep state of concentration, or maybe they even attain the way, we might discuss among ourselves asking, what's the reason the person attained the way? We might say, oh, it's because this person was diligent, or because this person had many favorable conditions, a good teacher, and good friends, and so on. When we say those things, we still haven't reached the level of karma. You have to speak all the way to the level of karma. And this was also the characteristic of the Buddha in ancient times. Whenever a monk attained the way, if someone asked the Buddha, why did this person attain the way? The Buddha would never answer because that person was diligent, or because they practiced this method, or because they followed that teacher. Never. The Buddha would only reply because in a certain past life, that person respectfully made offerings to a certain Buddha, a certain Paksabuddha, or a certain Arhat, so in this life, they attain the way. The Buddha always speaks in terms of karma, always. He never stops at another, more proximate cause. Always. We have to remember this. This is a characteristic of the Buddha, and only the Buddha. And we must learn this from him. Why is that? Because the law of karma is absolute. The Buddha is also absolute. Therefore, only a Buddha knows everything about karma. As for the rest of us, almost no one can see all of it. Each person only sees a part of it, that's all. That's why, in a recent lecture, I said this: never disrespect the law of karma. Because the law of karma is absolute. Just as we should never be foolish enough to disrespect the Buddha because the Buddha is absolute. So, the more we cultivate and the clearer our minds become, the more deeply we understand karma. But we can never know all of it. And anyone who understands a little bit and then thinks they know all of karma, or anyone who thinks they can practice to a point where they escape karma, well, that is a gravely wrong view. A very heavy wrong view. That wrong view, it's like that story about the old fox. Have you all heard the story of the old fox? You have? Okay. I'll just go over it briefly. So, back in the time of the famous Zen master Baizhang, when he gave Dharma talks, there was always this strange old man who would sit with the assembly. One time, after the talk, the assembly dispersed and the old man came to greet the master. The master looked at him and knew he was unusual. He asked him, "Who are you?" He knew right away this was not an ordinary person. The man said, "Venerable master, I am not an ordinary person. I am a fox from the mountain behind here. Back in the time of Kasyapa Buddha, I was a high-ranking monk. One day, a student asked me, 'Does a greatly cultivated person who has attained the way still fall under the sway of cause and effect?' And I answered, 'No, they do not fall under the sway of cause and effect.' For that answer, I have been condemned to 500 lifetimes as a fox, and I don't even know where my mistake was." You see, back then he had studied the doctrine of emptiness, that everything is not, so no cause, no effect. He misunderstood it to mean that if your mind is empty, you are free from consequences. And by teaching this, he was instantly condemned. If he had only misunderstood it himself, the fault would be his alone, but he opened his mouth and taught it to others, creating a disaster for Buddhism. So now he said, "I don't know my error. I beg you, master. Please teach me so I can be free from this fox body." Baizhang said, "You ask me the same question." The old man bowed and asked, "Venerable master, a greatly cultivated person who has attained the way, are they still governed by the law of karma or not?" Master Baizhang replied, "A person of great cultivation and attainment is not blind to cause and effect. They understand it more profoundly than ever." At that very sentence, he was instantly awakened, and he said, "From now on, I have escaped the fox body," and asked the master to perform a monk's funeral for him. The story goes like that as a warning for us even to this day. And yet, many people still haven't remembered that lesson. They still try to evade the law of karma. We must remember one thing: even a Buddha is still within karma. Remember that. After his enlightenment, the Buddha's life still unfolded with many ups and downs, right? He faced antagonists. For one whole rains retreat, he and his monks had to eat barley meant for horses. A rock splinter from Devdutta injured his foot. He went through many trials. It wasn't like, because he attained the way, everything was smooth sailing. Remember that. And that was also the karma from his past. And the Buddha never used his psychic powers to stop these karmic results from ripening. He only used the Dharma. He used karma to teach. A sage, the more sublime they are, the more masterfully they apply karma. They are not masters of evading karma. They are masters of applying it. For us, it's the same. When we practice well and want to guide someone, we must always work within the framework of karma. There is no action outside of karma that can save or transform another person's life. Everything is within karma. Everything. The law of karma has 3 primary benefits. It explains life, it provides a foundation for morality, and it directs our spiritual practice. When we understand it, everything makes sense. From why one person is handsome and another is not, to why our class here at Tien Con has half of its students who are extremely handsome, and the other half who are just slightly extremely handsome, we can use karma to explain it all. It's limitless. You'll never get bored of it. I myself have written about karma 3 times and still dream of writing a 4th and a 5th. We must understand karma deeply to practice and to teach. It's also the only true foundation for morality. Other systems are flawed. If morality is based on pleasing a god, it depends on the whims of that god's priests. If it's based on secular laws, people will do wrong when they think no one is watching. But karma is an objective, impartial law that governs all, even in darkness. A person who truly believes in karma will restrain themselves. Finally, spiritual progress comes from merit. You need great merit to become a sage. And what does it mean to make merit? Simply put, to make merit is to bring peace and ease to others. Imagine a destitute person, tense with worry about their next meal. If you give them food, their tension disappears. You have brought them peace. When we bring peace to others, our own mind becomes peaceful. If we do this for a lifetime, that accumulated peace solidifies into deep meditative concentration. This is how karma directs our liberation. The merit of teaching this law is immeasurable. Part 2. A practical dialogue on karma. Okay, so when we talk with someone about this, we have to be proactive. We engage in some small talk, and then when we see an opening, we bring up karma. So now, how do we do that? How do we lead the conversation into karma? Let's have one of you speak first. Student 1. In my opinion, we can't just jump into it. We have to talk about their feelings first, show some affection. Not romantic affection, I mean we show we care about them. We ask about them. See how their work is going, or if they are sick or sad about something. We look for that opening, and when they let their guard down, we introduce the idea. Teacher, exactly. That's a point for you. That's right. First, we have to ask after them, show we care. How is business these days? Are you well? How many gold bars have you bought, and where did you hide them? Just kidding. We ask carefully about their health, their family. That's right. So, after a few sentences of this back and forth, they will almost certainly fall into one of two situations. Either they will boast about something good, right? They'll share something good and want you to be happy with them. Or they will complain about some misfortune, some bad luck that happened. It's always one of those two. And no matter which one they choose, they fall right into our trap. Let's say the person boasts, "You know, it's my fate. Wherever I go, people always seem to help me." They are showing off their good luck, right? We grab that and we speak immediately. What do we say? Let's hear from another student. Student 2, we can say, "That is because in a past life, you gave generously and helped others, so now people help you in return." Teacher, that sentence is perfectly correct, isn't it? No flaws. Guaranteed. And we are also indirectly complimenting them. Telling them they were a good person in a past life. People usually like hearing that and will accept it. But now let's make it harder. What if this person is a bit stubborn? They don't believe in anything and they ask a lot of questions. Maybe they believe you a little, but they want to test you. So they ask, to be honest, I'm still doubtful about past and future lives. Right? Even though I hear the Buddha's words, I'm still skeptical. So how do we answer that? Student 3. I think, if a layperson says they are still skeptical, we have to find a way to guide them. Maybe tell them a story to help them understand. Then, when they believe a bit more, we can talk about karma in a way that leaves an impression on them. Then next time we see them, we can continue to persuade them. Teacher, not quite persuasive enough, is it? This is a very difficult question. One of the most difficult. Student 4, for me, if they ask that, I will say, well, some people are born rich, others are born poor. Some are lucky, others meet with misfortune. And what about child prodigies? Think of Mozart, a prodigy at 6 years old. He didn't have time to learn all that. That's the karma from a past life. Teacher, yes, that's a good idea. You bring up something that cannot be explained by other means to compel them to accept that there must be a secret karma from a past life. That's a good line of reasoning. An excellent point. Or, we can ask them a counter question. We ask them, friend, do you believe everything happens by chance? That it just appears from nowhere? If they don't believe their good fortune comes from helping people in a past life, then ask them to explain why people always help them. They will try to give approximate cause. It's because I have a good appearance, I speak skillfully, I'm educated. Then we ask again, and why do you have a good appearance? We keep pushing them to trace the cause. They'll answer, because I inherited good genes from my parents. And why are you skillful in your conduct? Because my parents taught me. And why are you educated? Because my parents sent me to school. So they had a good environment, good genes, a good family. We ask again, and why were your parents the kind of people who decided to send you to school and knew how to teach you? We just keep tracing it back. After a while, can they keep answering? They'll get exhausted and we'll have to admit that everything has a cause before it, right? It's only because we don't know the real cause that we cut it off somewhere and call it random, right? We only conclude something is random when we can't find the cause anymore. But in this world, is there really anything without a cause? No. A lightning strike seems random, but now we know it's from positive and negative electrical charges in the clouds. There's a cause. There is no such thing as a miracle where a result just appears from thin air. Now, what about the other case? You meet someone who is suffering. They complain, "Oh, my child is sick. We've run out of rice at home. They have so many problems." We grab that and we speak about karma. This is a bit harder than with the person who boasts. How do we say it? Student 5. In my opinion, if they are complaining of suffering, we must first soothe their suffering with practical words of comfort. After that, we can speak a gentle Dharma lesson on karma, because we want to guide them gradually onto the path of karma. We shouldn't make it worse for them by saying, "It's because of your past life that you're suffering today." Maybe in their past life they didn't know. They are living in the present, so we must speak of the present. And if they are suffering in the present, we must show them a way out of suffering. That means advising them to follow the right path, advising them to be vegetarian, to do good and avoid evil, so that the results in the future won't be like the karmic results they face today. Teacher, that's a very reasonable approach, right? But it's always like this if we don't mention the past karma and only talk about the future from now on. Try to make merit so you can have a better future. It still implies that there is karma, doesn't it? And it implies that they did something wrong in the past, right? There's no escaping it. When we want to talk about karma, we are always forced to make the person who is currently suffering see their fault in the past. There's no other way. It's always like that. The question is, how do we say it so the other person can hear it and accept it? We have to say it, we can't avoid it. But how do we say it best? Student 6, for me, I would first advise and comfort them. Give them some mental support. I would use analogies and examples to help them see their fault clearly. But alongside seeing their fault, they shouldn't feel ashamed, but should have the will and energy to rise up and overcome that mistake, to live a better, more virtuous life. Teacher, exactly. Another point for you. We say to them, be strong, endure, and overcome this suffering. And don't let this suffering take anything from you. It cannot take away your resilient mind and your determination. Why? Because we know that the suffering of today is due to some mistake in the past. Perhaps we once caused suffering for someone else, and now the result has returned. We know our fault, and we bravely accept it. We have to compel them to acknowledge they have a fault in the past, but the way we say it is meant to make them feel stronger. But people are tricky. When you tell them to be strong and face their past mistakes, they might get upset. They might say, "I'm already suffering, and now you're blaming me for having sins and mistakes in the past?" They will reproach us. So now what do we say when they blame us for saying they had past faults while they are suffering? Student 7, in that case, I think we can say that there is no greater peace than when one truly sees one's own faults. And once you have acknowledged your fault, you will feel something peaceful in your soul. Teacher, precisely. That's it exactly. One more point. This is a crucial element, everyone, remember this. It's not just something we say to laypeople, it's for ourselves as well. In the psychology of karma, there's this principle: when anyone dares to admit their fault, their mind instantly becomes stronger. They immediately suffer less. And strangely, good fortune suddenly arrives. In the supernatural realm, when you admit your fault, your mind gets stronger, your suffering and depression lessen, and at the same time, your external circumstances suddenly meet with good luck. Admitting fault is a wondrous thing. We should answer just like that. That answer is completely correct.